Everything comes at a price. Everything must be fought for. You have been a huge part of my career, and my career has played off completely unexpected, and as far as I'm concerned, extraordinary, because I would have never imagined what would have happened. Now, I want to talk about 7 years on YouTube. That's how long I've been on social media. First, it starts off when I was a little teeny guy. I grew up watching my dad make movies. He managed and worked at grocery stores night shift, and he, at nighttime, a lot of times, he'd make these music videos at the grocery store. I think that was allowed, probably not, but he would have so much fun, and he'd come back and he'd show us these music videos of him working in the grocery store, and just, it was so amazing to see how excited he was about it. But eventually, my dad let me film every so often. I had to be super careful because this was the only camcorder we had. It was like a big honking thing back then. So I would make these music videos and these Lego stop motion videos and fell in love with that, and I just knew that I loved to make stories and tell them through video. Now, I grew up in Oregon. I love Oregon. It's green there, it's rainy there, but it's full of adventure. So one of my heroes that I looked up to, the cool guy to me, was my cousin Luke. Luke owned a Subaru, and to me, Luke was one of the coolest guys in the world. I wanted to be like my cousin Luke. When I turned 16, I bought a beat-up, used Subaru, and I just fell in love with the car. Now, there was several things that I loved in high school. I loved snowboarding, I loved running, cross-country and track, and I also loved making movies. Every weekend, I'd go with my friends and my cousins. We'd go up to Mount Hood and we'd film these snowboarding videos, and that's where I kind of learned the next level as far as I had this video footage, but I didn't know how to edit it. So everything was kind of just learning it as it was actually happening by doing what we absolutely love to do. But we would take my Subaru, we'd pack it full of all of our gear because it would fit in the trunk. And I always loved wagons because that's originally what my cousin Luke had, because I could stick all my gear in there, my snowboarding gear, my camera gear, and I could stick my friends in there and we could all drive. So I was the one that always drove because we could fit everyone in my car, and then we'd film all day, come back, and then we edit all night. I mean, that's how I learned how to make movies, through all that. I knew it was crucial right out of high school that I go straight to film school. So I moved to Utah and I went to Brigham Young University and I applied for the film program and I got rejected. And you only have 2 chances to get rejected, or you don't make it in the film program, and you don't have an option to ever be in the film program. So for me, it's like I just did this big move, applied, got rejected, so I was heartbroken. Out of like my entire life, there's a few times I can vividly remember like crying and being like completely broken. That was one of them. But through that trial, through that escapade, I realized like I love doing this. I'm gonna make it work no matter what. So I was volunteering on everyone's shoot. It didn't matter what I was doing. If I was doing craft service, making food, I was doing that. If I was picking up litter on a shoot, I was doing that. I was just being as involved as much as possible, meeting with all the teachers, because for me, I knew I loved making movies and I was gonna make it work no matter how much I was rejected. And I wasn't gonna let the school determine my success. A year later, I applied the second time. This was my final and last chance, and believe it or not, I got accepted. Finally. And that was like a big moment for me because I'd put so much work into this. I'd essentially devoted my life to making movies because I was so passionate about it, and I finally had that opportunity. I learned from that experience of being rejected that failure was only determined by me. I spent the next 3 years working non-stop, volunteering hundreds of hours on everyone's projects, and it finally gave me the credibility to be working on everyone's projects as far as like cinematographer, director, editor. It just gave me so many opportunities. And then finally on my senior year, it came time to pitch the big senior project. All my friends went in and they pitched theirs and they all got approved, and then it came time for me to pitch mine, and I was the only one rejected once again. Completely heartbroken, but with that rejection, once again, it went right back to is I'm not gonna let any teacher determine whether I succeed or fail. It's gonna be on my shoulders. So that's when I actually dropped out my last senior year, which I generally would not recommend. However, I knew exactly what I wanted, and I was gonna create my own success no matter what stood in the way. So after my rejection, I had an opportunity to go right away to Hawaii. So I moved out there, but that is when I had like the biggest opportunities. I learned really fast, really quick, that I just had to make stuff happen no matter what. So when I moved there, I had no money. I didn't even own a camera to my name at this point. So I was borrowing my friends' cameras that I was meeting on the island. Canon Rebel T2i, Canon 5D Mark II, like early days. And that's when I just started shooting stuff that made me happy, that got me stoked on life. And all of a sudden, within the first like 6 months, I had an opportunity to shoot a commercial for national TV, and that's when I got the money to buy my first camera. So I was about creating your own opportunities. So this was all going on in 2010, and YouTube really wasn't a thing at this point. There were some people that had found a lot of success on it. For me, it was just a way of expressing myself. But as I started doing that, things just got bigger and bigger. So right away, I formed my YouTube channel called devinsupertramp. My name's Devin, if you haven't caught that already. And the whole idea behind devinsupertramp, the meaning behind that, is one of my favorite books is called Into the Wild. It's about a guy named Chris McKennell's, all true story, and when he decides to go out and live his dreams, he calls himself Alexander Supertramp. So when I decided to go out there and live my dreams of creating films, making movies, I called myself on social media Devin Supertramp. So finally I had the opportunity to move back to Utah because there were so many opportunities that had been created from my YouTube channel. That's when I started working with bigger brands, and that's when I started being able to get money for equipment and also to buy my first new car, a Subaru Outback 2012, which I just so happen to own to this day because going back to it, I've always loved Subaru. I've only owned Subaru, and I started meeting all these people as far as super adventurous. In Utah, they are also known for kind of extreme sports stuff because they have this amazing backdrop. So I started working with all these amazing people. Now, even though I was working with brands at this time, it was still all so new to me, and I was still kind of making it up as I was going, if I had to be completely honest with you all. But through those experiences, bigger things happened. But when we were going out there, we're hiking up into the middle of nowhere, and we were always taking my car, always camping out of my car, and my Outback gave me the opportunity to be traveling, sleeping in my car, and waking up super early to get to the next sunrise or sunset. So I was usually running as a one-man team, sometimes a two-man team as far as filmmaking goes, and I just bringing on, same thing as before, my friends to be a part of these videos. But that's when we started shooting like the rope swinging video through the big arch, the human slingshot video. These are some of our most watched videos, but these were all done on a $0 budget. It was just getting the right people that were passionate about what they're doing, and we were all growing together. So it was just, in those early days, it was just doing it because of the love, and bigger opportunities came from it. The more I put into my YouTube channel, the more I got out of it. So this was like a 24/7 hour job. Like, it was non-stop. I would be filming all day, editing all night. So you're probably wondering, when was I sleeping? Not really at any time, maybe like 4 hours a night. But whenever you're doing anything and giving your whole heart, other aspects of your life drop significantly. So all I do is work on YouTube videos. Everyone assumes I have the best life, but really all I do is edit from the computer, so it's not very exciting. I just wasn't super social because I dedicated my whole life to the filmmaking aspect of it, and what I've learned is if you want to get good at something, you have to get rid of a lot of other things. So it kind of became a really hard balancing act for me to figure out, but it was definitely an opportunity for self-discovery. And I realized that this was going to kill me if I was going to keep this pace up for another 5-10 years. So it meant growing my team so it didn't have to be me running solo. So that's when Team Supertramp was formed. That was when the people that I love working with, I started working and bringing them on as essentially friends working together to create the content you're seeing today. But what that also meant is now I would have more time to have a social life, and then that's when I met the love of my life, Megan. We became best friends, we started dating, fell madly in love with each other. I mean, how could I resist? And we eventually got married a couple years later, and she's just been so supportive as well. She's traveled with me all around the world. She's helped shoot behind the scenes, helped shoot the main videos, cameoed in a lot of the videos, probably not by choice, but she's just been so supportive of it, and finding a best friend like that, who I love, has been incredible and something I never actually thought I'd actually ever find. The best filmmakers are ones out not making movies, but ones that are out living. Now let that settle for a minute. I remember being taught that at school. I didn't fully comprehend it is through our own personal experiences of going out and living. We're able to actually learn how to communicate with you, the audience. So by having a full team behind me, it gave me that opportunity to live more and experience stuff that would actually be able to communicate with you. Never stay stagnant, never stay comfortable with the situation you're in. The problem with that is you start getting left behind because social media is always changing, it's always evolving. The things that were true like a week ago is completely changed. The game's always changing. So if you want to succeed on social media, you'll always have to be willing to be adaptive and changing. It's been 7 years since I started my career on YouTube. I would have never imagined all the opportunities it would have given me, all the experiences, all the people I would meet, and essentially it's given me the opportunity to see the world. It's changed my life, and it's changed so many others' lives who've been a part of it, including my audience. So I absolutely love what I do. And this would not have happened with several pivotal characters or several pivotal things in that. Big part of that was just picking up a camera and going out every day and shooting. My Subaru Outback has also been a huge part of my success because it's given me to point A to point B. It's been a part of the whole journey. It's given me the opportunity to take our equipment, our crew, to wherever we need to be without having to worry if we're gonna get there or not. A huge part of it has been you. The fans, the people that support us every day, the people that are following us, are subscribing. You have given us the opportunity to do what we love to do, and we want to thank you just because you've changed our lives significantly. The goal was never YouTube. It was always the final frontier, the unknown. It was all about exploring uncharted territory. So wherever that is where I'm going to go. But for right now, it's definitely YouTube. I love what I do, and I'll do it until the day I die. Filmmakers, true filmmakers, in my opinion, they never retire. They continue to do what they love. And that, my friends, is what I plan to do. As we always say, over and out.